Good morning, garden friends. This is Lisa from Wandering Creek Acres, and I thought I would give you a tour of my vegetable raised beds. So I am in north central Illinois, zone 5B. My raised beds here face southeast. So as soon as I can work the soil in the spring, as early as March, I start seeding my garden. And each seed packet you get has so many seeds in it. I can direct sow a few of them. They either grow, they don't, and then I just reseed the ones that don't grow. So let's take a tour. In this first bed, I will be growing cucumbers and beets. So I did just sow a few cucumbers here. The sticks is the area I'm going to place my seedlings that I started this year that I'm in the process of hardening off. So this will give me succession planted cucumbers, so the ones in the back will end up having cucumbers sooner than the ones in the front. Here are my beets. I have 3 varieties of beets planted here. I have a Ruby Queen. I'll go from right to left. Ruby Queen, gold, a gold type of beet, and I have the Detroit red beet. I do need to reseed some of the gold ones. They did not, one row didn't do that great. But look at this. This is the Ruby Queen red beet, and I'm planting them similar to what the Michigan Gardener guy says to do, where you plant like 3 seeds in one spot, and when they grow up they sort of press out from the middle and you'll get 3 nice beets from one area. So that's what I'm attempting to do this year. Here, this is a slicer cucumber on this side. So here's my trellis. I don't have the netting on it yet. I got this from Gardener Supply. One thing, it won't stay together unless you put some type of tie on it. This is just too loose, so the legs just kept falling off, and I just went and found something out of my husband's shop to hold it together. He said it won't last all season, but that's fine, because all I needed to do is I needed to get it assembled and put into place. So back on these cucumbers here, this was an older package of cucumbers, I think from 2024, and I only sowed about 6 cells, and only 1 cell produced a cucumber plant, so that's why there's only 1 stick over there. So that's my method of remembering where I still need to plant a cucumber, and this video will also help me remember, and I'll be able to look back on it. All right, the next one here, this is my onion seedlings. I did not start them from seed this year. Both of my attempts at starting onions from seeds just failed. They just wouldn't take off. Last year they did great, this year not so. Planted under these baskets are, let's see, these are my Blue Lake 274 green beans. So I've got 2 rows in here. I am in the process of painting some of these rusty baskets. We have a friend that when he moved had all these partially used spray cans of Rust-Oleum paint. So my husband took them, and we've been using that around the farm to just do things like this, just paint our baskets. So nothing's come up yet. I planted the bean seeds last week. Along the front of my garden, as you can see, those are Egyptian walking onions. I have found, ever since I have placed them at the front of the gardens of my raised beds, the deer stay out of my raised beds. They do not like that. Okay, that one over there is a little bit out of control. I do need to, probably should rip them all out and just place 1 bulb like I did here in a row, because that's enough. That's just too much over there. This next bed here, I have zucchini, yellow squash, broccoli and Brussels sprouts. More onions along the front. And these greenery here is garlic from about 2-3 years ago that just didn't make it. So they started growing and then they died off and I didn't dig them up, and so they just create a lot of garlic green. So I've been clipping them off and using them in salads and things like that. Here's my zucchini. So I planted this literally, I read the package and it said as soon as the ground is workable. I think I planted these in March sometime. Took a while, but I planted 3 seeds in each. I got 1 there, I got 2 there. I'll probably, once that starts growing a little bit, I'll probably clip one of those out. This is a yellow squash, like a yellow crooked neck squash. If I zoom in, there's one growing right there. I'll point to it, right there. This one here has not grown yet, so I'll give it another week, and if not, I'll just reseed it. So, all right, let's go to the next, let's get back there. Okay, next bed back here. This one has, I do my succession planting of lettuce. So here is the first succession planting I did. Not very successful, but I did this weeks and weeks ago. And I had a variety pack of seeds that were a little old. That's the first couple rows. And then I think that is my Grand Rapids lettuce there. I just planted 5 more rows there. Back in this area is cauliflower. So, and I actually squeezed in around all of my cauliflower and through the middle. See how that works. Is my, what is that? Hikari turnip. It is a white turnip that is mild and delicious. I've got a recipe where I think I cooked it. I'll have to look back on what I did with my turnip last year. So, nothing is planted in these, what are these things called? Man, there goes my brain this morning. It's a little slow. Maybe I need more coffee. But these structures here. And I think I plan on putting some peppers there. I have like 8 different variety of peppers I planted. So I need to find more areas for peppers because, 5 structures there. Cages, that's what they're called. 5 cages here. And so I need to find space for my other peppers. Okay, this area here, what are we on, the 5th bed? So the 5th bed here, I had moved some lettuce. That's what you see in the corners there in the far corner. So I had moved some lettuce out of another bed, and that lettuce just came up on its own this year. Yesterday I planted some carrots along with some radishes. The radishes help you identify the row because they'll come up within a week. Those radishes will come up, but carrots take like 3 weeks or some crazy long time. These cages here, I'm going to put some tomatoes. Haven't decided what type. I'm thinking maybe this year I'm trying the Amish paste tomato, so I'm thinking maybe Amish paste tomato would be good here. The same thing, I must have like 7-8 varieties of tomatoes I started, so I have other areas on my farm that I can put things at, so no biggie. This is how I organized all my seeds this year. I have 2 bins, one that's meant for direct sowing or I think binders, one that is meant for direct sowing, and the other one is for seed starting. And let's go here. This bed here, I have, let's see, what do I have planted in here? I have my peas. Those are my snap peas. The row there is radishes. I have red lettuce. We'll walk around and look at that. And then there's a few strawberry plants. So with the bricks that you see, what I've done is I create like a trough. I didn't do it on the right side because That's a little bit higher ground, so I figured I was good without doing all 3 sides. So I create like a moat. So when I water my peas, I can just set my hose in there and it'll fill it up, and then I let it soak down. So very interesting thing here is these peas were started, let's go back up here. So these peas were started 2 weeks apart. The ones in the back were started first, and then the ones in the front were started 2 weeks later. And it just so happens the one in the front are doing much better than the ones in the back. Everywhere there is a blank or where the seed did not grow, I have placed more seeds in it. Some I did last week on the ones in the back, and then this week I've planted any gaps this week. So let's walk around here. Here's my red lettuce. Yes, a few things I did not start from seed. I don't start lettuce from seed, but yesterday I was at Menards and couldn't pass up getting some red lettuce, so I had instant salad fixings. So they might be planted a little close together, but they sure look good this morning. I'm very pleased with that. I have nothing planted along the back here. My plan for that is I have this squash tunnel, and I have a second one that I haven't put together. I'm thinking of putting it together in between these 2 beds so I can plant some different type of hanging vegetable or something like that. So I still need to do that. I think over there I'm going to put my watermelon and cantaloupe. I did that last year. It came out pretty good. This over here I'm thinking of putting a loofah, and I have some birdhouse seedlings I started. So this bed here needs to be cleaned out. I am working on an area to put all of my iris, but it's not quite prepped yet. So what I think I'm going to do is when I'm ready in that other area, then I'll start moving these iris, and then at that time I can plant. Maybe I'll plant something that this is more in, doesn't get as much sun, I don't think. Maybe it gets the later sun. I'm going to watch that this summer to see how much sun this gets, and then do some succession planting back here. This here is, I believe this actually might be mustard greens. It sort of tastes like arugula, and maybe that's how mustard greens taste. There is a slight row of them, and then there's a whole pile of them that I think the weeds got washed away and then ended up down there. So recently I made a salad with some of them. They were very good. I planted them in March sometime. A lot of weeds in there. Ooh. So that's what's in this bed. This middle bed here, so we're on number 8. I have 2 succession plantings of spinach. So when you see the other side, you'll see the other corner. The spinach is much more developed. So I just planted that a couple weeks ago. Here I have nothing because I haven't planted my melons yet. And in the what I believe I will do is on these, I'm going to plant the melons closer to the right side of the tunnel there. I have to figure out where to plant them so they don't cover up my spinach, because in the front I'd like to put some of the different type of basil I have. I have cinnamon basil, and I bought a Mrs. Lemon basil or something like that. Here is my garlic. I've got about 70 cloves of garlic in here, looking fabulous. Here's my succession planting, my first succession planting of spinach. So as you can, I'll scan over to the other one. So that's the first. There's the second. Very cool. And my last bed here is probably over 100 different varieties of iris. So I have an area next to my sun garden where I used to grow iris, and it got so weedy in there that I just pulled out all of my iris. They don't bloom over here because they're relatively new, but I pulled out all of my iris. I put them in this bed. I have no idea what varieties they are. I just know they're sectioned off, and I used flags to sort of go from one to another. And I plan on moving all of these back over to the other garden this summer. So, and that is a tour of my vegetable beds. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday, and come back and visit me soon. Thank you.